A quiet decision by the Lakers may have opened a question few fans were ready to ask. When a franchise in win-now mode starts testing outside options over internal projects, it's rarely accidental. A recent roster move changed the internal dynamic at guard, and suddenly, Bronny James' future is no longer as certain as it once seemed. Is this just depth management, or the first sign of a bigger offseason decision taking shape behind the scenes? In the early hours of last Sunday, the Lakers made a move that went unnoticed by many. Without much fanfare, the franchise signed guard Kobe Bufkin, a recent standout with the South Bay Lakers, its G League affiliate. At first glance, it might look like just another depth addition. But when I connect this decision with the team's recent history and internal context, the move carries a different weight. Bufkin arrives on a 2-year contract that includes a team option, something extremely relevant from a strategic standpoint. This type of deal gives the Lakers full flexibility, the ability to evaluate real NBA-level performance without a long-term financial commitment. More than that, it signals that the franchise is not willing to keep players around solely for narrative or symbolism. Behind the scenes, the read is clear. The Lakers are comfortable bringing in a guard from the market and giving him real minutes, even with younger players already on the roster. And this isn't hypothetical, it has happened more than once this season. When a team fighting for strong positioning in the West makes this kind of decision, it's not by accident. It's competitive priority. And this is where Bronny's name inevitably enters the discussion. Selected with the 55th pick in the 2024 draft, Bronny arrived surrounded by attention, expectations, and, of course, pressure. The context is unique, sharing the floor with his own father, LeBron James, something historic for the league. But the Lakers, as an organization, have never operated solely on feel-good stories, and that needs to be said honestly. On the court, Bronny's numbers this season are modest. In more than 50 games played, his offensive production and overall impact have not convinced either the coaching staff or the front office that he can consistently contribute to a team with real championship ambitions. Shooting efficiency is low, on-ball creation is limited, and defensive reads remain inconsistent. And here's a point I consider central to this analysis: the Lakers are not in a rebuilding phase. We're talking about a franchise operating in win-now mode, with competitive windows getting shorter by the year. Every roster spot, every contract, and every minute on the floor has to make sense within that objective. When the Lakers sign a player like Bufkin out of the G League and already show a willingness to test him quickly in the rotation, the internal message is direct. No one has a guaranteed spot based on name or story alone. Immediate performance matters a lot. Bronny isn't heading into the offseason blind. Internally, the evaluation is that 2 consecutive seasons of limited early productivity weigh heavily, especially for a late second-round pick without protected contract status. If nothing changes by the end of the season, the possibility of the Lakers moving in a different direction is real and concrete. This move isn't personal. It's structural. It's how title-contending franchises operate. When I look at the recent decisions made by the Los Angeles Lakers, it becomes increasingly clear that the organization is operating with a level of pragmatism that's rare and, for many fans, even uncomfortable. The core issue here isn't just Kobe Bufkin or Bronny James in isolation. What's at stake is the internal evaluation model the Lakers have adopted. The franchise has turned the back end of the roster into a continuous testing zone. Those who deliver real impact stay. Those who don't, move on, regardless of narrative, last name, or media attention. That explains why the Lakers feel comfortable signing a G League guard and immediately placing him ahead of younger options on the depth chart. Internally, the logic is simple. Minutes are far too valuable to be used as passive development on a team that still sees itself as a contender in the West. When I analyze roster usage data this season, a clear pattern emerges. The Lakers have drastically reduced their margin of patience with players who don't contribute in 3 specific areas: functional playmaking, reliable perimeter shooting, defensive consistency without compromising rotations. And that is exactly the sensitive point in Bronny's case. This isn't just about low scoring or assist averages. The bigger issue is that, so far, he hasn't established himself sustainably in any of these 3 areas. In higher intensity games, the impact drops. In tighter rotations, the minutes disappear. That weighs heavily in the evaluation of a front office clearly trying to maximize every roster spot. Another important, and rarely discussed, detail is the Lakers' financial moment. The franchise is operating with extreme caution regarding future contracts, especially with flexibility for 2025 to 26 in mind. End-of-roster spots need to be cheap, movable, and, above all, useful. A young player who doesn't show clear progress quickly becomes, automatically, an opportunity cost risk. That's why Bufkin's signing doesn't affect only the present. It opens the door to tough off-season decisions, including cuts that, in other contexts, might not even be considered. The Lakers are making it clear they'd rather be wrong trying something new than insist on something that has already shown its limits. And here's a point I think is fundamental for fans to understand. The Lakers aren't giving up on anyone, they're prioritizing a competitive window. With LeBron in the later stage of his career and the team searching for consistency to compete at the top of the West, every decision runs through one simple filter: does this help us win now? If the answer is no, name, history, and symbolism carry far less weight than many people imagine. What I see behind the scenes is a Lakers team that's colder, more direct, and less emotional in its decisions. That can create external noise, criticism, and discomfort for part of the fan base. But from a strategic standpoint, this is exactly how franchises that still view themselves in title mode tend to operate. The internal message from the Lakers is clear: no one is guaranteed. Performance rules. Flexibility rules. And the primary goal, competing at a high level, comes before any narrative. Now I want to hear from you. Do you agree with this tougher stance from the Lakers, or do you think the team should be more patient with young projects? Leave your opinion in the comments, because it helps the channel grow a lot. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with me here on the channel for fast updates, deep analysis, and behind-the-scenes reads you won't find anywhere else.